Hello there, and welcome to another Monday night stream. I'm actually going back to a behind the scenes video for the first time in, I don't know, 2 months maybe? I can't remember, it's been a while anyway. I kind of ran out of things to show on the most recent chapters. So now we got to chapter 14, I've actually got something I can show off. James Ultra, welcome. Hello. Hope you're had a good day and had a good weekend. Feels strange, it's another week's gone by and here we are again, but I do enjoy being here and chatting with you all and working on things, or playing games, but working on things today. Moff Gideon, welcome. I am a few minutes late starting. Yes, I am the voice of Captain Pelion. I will not be doing the Pelion voice because it does kind of kill your throats a little bit, so if I started doing it I won't be talking too much on the stream, and that won't make for a very interesting stream. Gavin, welcome, and Thomas, also welcome. It's good to see you both. Just waiting for a few people to turn up. Well, I guess I could get started because this might take a little while. Squirrel, welcome. I'm glad you enjoy the behind the scenes. For those who haven't seen it yet, Heirs to the Empire won Best Animation at the Fantasy Short Film Festival over the weekend. It was also nominated for Best Visual Effects. I submitted Chapter 19, which is the one where Thrawn attacks Bafash, and then we see the second part of it is when Han, Luke and Leia are talking on Coruscant. But yeah. Frollo, welcome, thank you. So yeah, it's a huge thrill. There are quite a few other Star Wars fan films up there, and it was nice to be sort of on the same level as them. It's Star Wars Origins won sort of the big prize, and it was a well-deserved win. But it's nice to be considered sort of on that level, because that's a really big budget fan film. If you haven't seen it, I do recommend checking it out. It's on YouTube. James Ultra, this is what I'm starting. I've got some of the voice recordings already, and this what I'm doing tonight is actually production on chapter 14. Right now, finally at Nomad City, there's a scene where they're all discussing things on the lounge, this lounge room. So I need to build actually the set. So over the weekend I built the basic room itself. What I'm going to be doing today is going to finish texturing it properly and do some of the lighting. I don't have any of the voice. I don't have any of the recordings for this particular scene. Well, I do. I have the Leia dialogue, but I don't have anyone else, so I can't animate anything yet. I don't have the motion capture, but it's still just as important to get the room looking right. So this is all modelled by myself, the room, and then these chairs. Henry Voss, welcome, and Floopy, also welcome. Gavin, that's very kind of you to say. I don't really compare the two that closely because they are very different. They're very different stories. and also very different films from a technical point of view as well, because obviously that's live action, and this is animated. But I do appreciate your words. Frollo, I'm glad you liked Nomad City. The book described it as a dreadnought with all the walkers underneath. The graphic novel took it in a very different direction, and I thought that's not what I want to do. I want to stick to the book. I painted the dreadnought blue because it's Lando, and he's not going to settle for anything other than a big flashy city. And I thought blue would be a nice colour because it stands out nicely on the landscape as well, so it looks nice visually just to look at it. Hoyle, welcome. I only just started streaming. I haven't actually got started on lose my voice a little bit, which is another reason I won't be doing any pillion voices tonight. A little bit of a scratchy throat actually, so a bit more water. Well, the graphic novel obviously cuts a lot out. It's kind of an abridged version of the story, and it can be useful to refer to things like the BIMs way back in chapter 6 and 7. There is no visual reference of them anywhere else in the entire Star Wars franchise except for the graphic novel of Heir to the Empire, because they only appear in that one story. So that was really helpful to look at that. Han's here because I needed him for scale, and also when I start messing around with the lights I need to make sure that the characters look good. But I do feel like this is the right sort of size room. But yeah, T-pose definitely though. I believe Heir to the Jedi was completed when the EU was discarded, but it was originally planned to be an EU novel, and the author had to make some changes, but otherwise that's why it feels so close to an expanded universe story, because they basically had it ready to publish, and they wanted to release quickly, so they chose that. I haven't read it personally though, so I don't know it too closely. I don't know. I'm not too familiar with it, other than that's what I heard. Yeah, I should probably get started on some of this texture work. I'm going to turn Han off for now, because characters are kind of demanding on system resources, and it'd be nice not to have that while I'm doing decorating the rest of the set. So, nope, wrong one. The Nomad City Lounge. So that's the seats. We can ignore the seats for now. The room itself consists of the room as one object and the door. So I'm going to start work on the door first because I've just got the textures ready. I have seen the first episode of Bucketheads. What did you think of it? I am looking forward to working on those scenes too. So I'm just going to drop in some textures for this door besides the base colour. But map. No, that's a normal map. Will I make a question for Ardus Kane and the Pentastar alignment? I'm going to have to quickly refresh my mind of what exactly those are, so please bear with me Just a second. They are very familiar names, and I don't know what exactly they are has escaped me, so just 1 second. Right. At the moment, I'm just going to stick to Heir to the Empire, and then hopefully move on to the rest of the trilogy. Michael, welcome and thank you. I'm glad you found the series. Excuse me. While reading the book. I hope you're enjoying the books. I am actually working on chapter 14. That's what this stream is meant to be about. I enjoyed the new episode of Bad Batch, but I'm not going to say anything else because I don't want to give any spoilers away. Thomas, thank you so much. That's very kind. Eric, okay. See, I know I've heard the name. It just escaped me. What's the story he's in? Niall Tep, the Crawling Chaos. Okay, I'm going to refer to you as the Crawling Chaos because it's a lot easier to say. But thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Admiral Moo, afraid so, but episode 14 does need to be worked on. Eric, I've got an excellent cast of voice actors. There's one guy, Matt Finnish, who voices every single character from the movies. Well, not the male characters. He doesn't do Leia or Mon Mothma and so on, but he does Han, Luke, Obi-Wan, 3PO, Lando, Wedge, Akbar. He's just such a great voice actor. I was very lucky to find him. And then I've got Robert S. Benjamin voices Thrawn. I actually asked my mum to voice Mon Mothma. I voice Talon Karrde and Pelion and Rook. Occasionally I'll do if I've got one line of dialogue, I might just do that. And then I've got some other friends who've voiced as well. It's actually one of the last things I did before the pandemic was to get them to record some dialogue for me. Of course, I've used that long ago now. So hopefully I can go and see them soon and get them to record some more dialogue for me. Floopy, yeah, I was really pleased with Eckhart when he did that review of the series so far. It kind of made the channel blow up a little bit, so I will be forever grateful for that. Right, I'm just looking for the texture I need next, so let's see. There it is. Right, Okay, I found the plates texture. This is for the walls. So they're placed. So bump map or a normal map. They both do this, roughly the same thing. Is the texture is a flat image, but if you put this on it, it makes it look 3D. So if you look closely, these lamps actually look like they're sticking out of the wall rather than just having a flat painted image. And then of course we put some roughness on it to make it shiny because it is a metal wall. And this is obviously Lando City, so I imagine it's going to look, it's not going to look run down and worn out. Well, that texture doesn't quite line up. The edges don't line up properly, so I'll fix that in a little while. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to fix it now because it will just annoy me. No, actually, I will do it later. Alright, so we're going to move on to oh yeah, these tiles on the edge, on the corners here. Scroll down a bit so I can drag the textures in the right place. Again, normal map. Can't really see the effect that one had. We'll put in that. Effect here is much less noticeable. Gavin, I'm really glad you found my fan films and you've been enjoying them. Of course, now we've got the floor. This one is ground plate 1. Now is it here with the others? Yes, it is. I think. Nope. Alright, I'll do a search. So I've got the you can't see it because it's on my second monitor, but I've got Explorer open with various textures, and I'm just dragging them from Explorer straight into iClone into the correct slot for each one. This one actually has the right roughness texture. See, it makes it look kind of metallic because if you see the edges are they catch the light, makes it look like it's actually made of metal. If that'll make a difference. It did make a difference. I do not like it. Or do I? I don't know. I'm also wondering if maybe this should be carpet because it is Lando's ship. Although it's a dreadnought. This was a challenge because the dreadnought's obviously a military vessel, but it's owned by Lando, who is not going to keep the regular grey military style decorations. He's going to want it looking very fancy because that's who Lando is. So I've been trying to keep that in mind as I build this, because there's only so much he can change the layout of the rooms without altering the structure of the ship too much. But then he is going to want it to look not like a military vessel. Frollo, that's way back in Chapter 2. I had a lot of fun making that scene actually. Yeah, I don't get to do too many bar scenes or cantina scenes in my project, so that was fun. And getting to voice that smuggler as well, that was another voice that I've done. Eric, yeah, I suppose I could do that. Right, we got some. We got 2 steps, and I put some lights in. So we need to, again, like I did with the walls and the floor, make them look metallic. But because they're light, they also need to glow. So I'll be doing that as well once I find the correct folder for those textures, which I believe is this one. Or is it the next one? Nope, this is it. We'll do the metallic bits first. Thank you, Floopy. Glad you're liking it. Yeah, I could actually adjust the colours to be pink quite easily. I'm not sure if I'm brave enough to actually do that. Maybe I will do it in a moment as a joke. So as you see, I put the glow effects in, and we also need blend to make it glow just a little more, but we need to change the blend mode to addition. So that means that these lights are now actually glowing. Pink lights. There you go, pink lights. Is that what you had in mind? Thing is, I'm actually quite liking it. It works. If I change some settings, bear with me a second. They have hold on. I'm just changing some of the environmental and the lighting settings. No, not that one. Global illumination, that's what I want. Where is it? Yeah. They've changed the global illumination settings, and I haven't had a chance to play with them too much. No, that won't make no difference. This is where I play with settings just to see what happens. So bear with me as I experiment with this. So you know what would really help is if I turn that off and also that. So what used to happen is these lights would emit light onto the surrounding area, but they've changed the way it works. So I don't actually know if it even does work anymore. Yeah, that seems to have made absolutely no difference at all playing with these settings. So what if I... No. Alright, so we're going to turn that off. and put the other lights back on so I can see what I'm doing. And turn that back on. Yeah, I'll come back to the wall colours in just a second. There is another way to change the way the light emits. I would have preferred to have done it the old-fashioned way, but I guess that got broken at some point. Right, so you've got the light in the right place. Let's get the colour right. Gavin, I'm glad you're enjoying watching how this these come together. So I'm actually thinking that's better. Let's go to enter it manually. A little bit brighter. Okay, and then we'll just duplicate it. Yeah, exactly. Once the set's created, I will just reuse it as I need to. An example of that is the Chimera Bridge, or the Millennium Falcon cockpit. Actually, the easiest one to reuse was the X-Wing cockpit. It was in chapter 11 when Luke goes to Dagobah, and then I basically just deleted all the animation from the scene, created a new project file and brought it into chapter 12 for his very brief appearance there, and again did the exact same thing for chapter 13 when he was in the battle. So there we go, that's how we light the steps. I'm not going to do all the steps just yet because I think I should probably get the rest of the stuff done first. So yes, walls and floor, they need to change. So let's start with the floor because it's got the lights on it already. Yeah, that's got a nice. It's got a nice look to it. It's not perfectly clean because if you look closely at the textures, there are little bits of dirt in there, and that is right because as fancy as this is going to be, it is going to be slightly used, and it is a mining ship after all. So there will be people with sort of dirt and grime on their outfits moving around. Although I imagine this lounge is mostly going to be kept for Lando meeting his sort of important clients. I have indeed read Outbound Flight. It's an excellent book. My favourite chapter actually is when Thrawn encounters the Trade Federation. So we want that, and we got to make it brighter. There we go. That's looking great. I'm really liking this. Thank you, Eric, for the colour suggestions. I've got this shelf here. I did have the idea that this blue panel would glow a little bit. Yeah, so let me bring in a blue texture. It's one of the reasons I like hang out with you guys, is because if I get stuck on something, you can help me out with it, make decisions. I don't want it to glow a lot, and the idea is to have some bottles on here. I don't have the models for those just yet, but I will get them and decorate them at another point. We want a light as well, so it does actually glow. We'll put it in here. We want a rectangle again, just like the steps. Make it wider and taller. Jacob, yes, exactly. The idea is it produces the video quality at render. What you're seeing here is basically the render quality. If I had a character walking around, he would be walking around perfectly. It wouldn't be slowed down because it needs time to render or anything. Plates could work. I'll have to give that one some thought. I feel like this wall is a little bit too shiny now. But I'll come back to it in a second. I want to finish this. Section here. There we go. Okay, so next up we're going to go back to the wall and make it less shiny, because it looked, when I had the original metallic look of the room to start with, that was fine, but now not so much. I think that's made it a little bit too bright. There we go. Yeah. Floopy, yeah, that's the one. In this very room, actually. So the way it will happen is Han and Leia and Chewie are going to be in here at 3PO. Lando's going to come in, and then Luke will come in later on in the scene with the tracking device which he found in Chapter 11. I don't think we're going to go for orange wallpaper, but it does look nice, but I don't know if it's right for here. Right, so we've got these other lights as well. Now, this is always going to be the trickiest part. Actually, I'm going to save what I've done here. Let me do that first. Yeah, there we go. This can be tricky because there's a balance between the light that would be realistic for the room and then light which actually looks good. So this light is not realistic for the room because you've got these random shadows here, whereas a light would be looking down, but that can do strange things to the characters. So if you look at Han, the shadows make his face look very strange. I mean, it's obviously recognisable as him, but it just, the light doesn't fall right on his face. Yeah, so let's play around with this a little bit. Or I could turn the light off, and that actually looked better. Well, thank you for coming. Hope you enjoyed yourself. Take care. Floopy, yeah, I do have a plan for a table. I haven't got the 3D model for it in yet. Tonight's stream's more just about getting the room set up. Starker, thank you so much. So, long time joke between some of my friends. Jury juice is made from Rhodians. I have no idea where that joke came from. So maybe I should put some jury juice in there just for them and see if they say anything. Starker, that's alright. You'll be able to catch up with the stream. When it finishes, it gets added to my channel. So, excuse me. You'll be able to find it there and watch it when you're able to. I do realise this looks kind of Bespin-like. But then Bespin is also Lando's style. It's actually better if I turn the shadows off for this one. And maybe if I change the light so it's not quite so bright. Frollo, yes to that. So I did chapter 4. There's a scene where Thrawn is telling Pelion about destroying the outbound flight. So I went back and read the chapter of the book. And I did think about recreating that in the chapter, but then what happens in the book is very complicated and would rely on more details from the rest of the book to work. So I did a very cut down version of the destruction of the outbound flight. But then also I've done things like in chapter 10 you see Han and Leia and Wedge ambushed on Bafash. And so in the book, Han takes the lightsaber and he attacks the fake freighter, which sends a load of smoke into the air, which attracts the attention of Rogue Squadron. In the book, you just see Rogue Squadron just kind of flies past. I added a little bit extra where Rogue Squadron wipe out the Nogri attackers on the hill, because I feel like that would happen. But also there's an extra line of dialogue which I added in. It's not from the book, but it made sense to me. It was a line from Rogue 9, who is Corran Horn, because when the book takes place, Corran Horn is in Rogue Squadron. He would be there on that mission with them. So he's not named in the book, but he would be there. So it felt important to give him a cameo. So I will do things like that. I got a bit more water there. Flippy, I'm glad you liked it. Hoppy, welcome. I didn't see you sneak in. Next thing I'm going to do is... I think this could be better. Don't have the right textures. I'll have to find... Gee, maybe that'll work. No, it wouldn't. Or would it? Naps are very good. You should have them. Yeah, so Floopy, there was... I thought back to Fellowship of the Ring, the film, and at the beginning you see a very brief clip of Bilbo finding the ring when Galadriel's kind of narrating the whole history of how the ring came from Sauron to the Shire, and you hear Gollum screaming and Bilbo finds it, and that's it. Obviously in the book The Hobbit, there's this really elaborate scene between Bilbo and Gollum about how Bilbo gets the ring from him. But it makes sense to me for the film why they would do a very brief, cut down version of that, because it would ruin the pacing basically. So that's what inspired me to do the outbound flights the way I did in chapter 4. So I took the same approach. Yeah, the Enterprise B bridge, because it's the only... Basically this creates a texture around... You can't see it, but it creates a texture around the room which generates light. So basically the light it creates a bit of extra light, which you're now seeing. If I turn it off, it goes back to the sort of greyish colour. Just to help light up the scene. And the Enterprise bridge is the only thing I've got in my collection at the moment that is anywhere near what I think should go in here. I'll probably find something better later on. Bertel, welcome. Are you not watching Liz play Mass Effect? Admiral Moo, there are several Star Trek references throughout the series so far, and I had a great time adding each and every one of them. Some are more obvious than others. One of the X-Wing novels does take place during the final battle. I can't remember which one it was offhand. You see Corrin at the Battle of Bilbringi. Bertel, I am building a virtual room to be used in my next Star Wars video. And I would be watching Liz stream as well, but I chose Monday one of the reasons I chose Monday to stream was because that's the day she doesn't stream, and now she is streaming, but this is my day to stream, so I'm missing out on Mass Effect. But fortunately, I am very familiar with the game, so I have a pretty good idea of what she's up to. Though maybe I should tell her that I'm stealing her viewers. Gavin, yeah, it was fun putting the Q plates in. There was a group on Facebook that had this running joke for Q plates, and I decided to put Q plates in. I don't want... Why am I putting cardboard as a texture? So I decided to put Q plates in the museum as a joke, just to see if anyone from the group would actually find it and say something. And it took a couple of months, but it did. One of the mods is aware of my work and tagged me in it when someone posted. much to both of our amusement. Jake Bob, I can use really complicated model. There is a limit to how much you can do, and I don't know what it's not like a hard limit, but there is a point where you could bring in a model that the software could not handle. But it also kind of depends on video card memory and so on. But a 300,000 polygon ship, that would probably be fine. I've managed to get a million poly model in at one point. Did slow everything down to a crawl just a bit, and I didn't really see much benefit to that, but it was fun to try it. But maybe when I finish the stream, I'm going to pop in and then complain that she's playing the wrong game. I think that might be funny. Right, so yeah, next time, these seats are not textured, they've just got colours, so I should work on that next. Didn't mean to press that. Right, so what colour should these cushions be, considering the rest of the room? I still like that name, Darth's Angels. Darth Revan, welcome. So a 6 million poly might push the software to the limits. Yeah, I agree, not green. Gold and blue. I can't really, because of the way I designed these seats, I can't really give them trim. So these padded cushions are all going to be the same colour. I mean, I could alternate between colours, so I could do a blue one here, a gold one, and a blue one and a gold one. Veratus, thank you so much. Welcome. Gold and dark blue. Yeah. I'm thinking... Wasn't the gold and dark blue specifically the Katana fleet colours? Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm going to do it for now, and then I'll check it later to confirm. How about we do that? So, luckily, I can do this. Basically, I'm painting the texture onto a different object, like this. Nope. That actually looks really good. Now the question is, did I bake the texture properly? Baking is when you finish editing it, so you kind of turn it into one image, so it's not all this layers. So what I'm going to do next is the same thing. I know that's brown. I'm going to change that to match to match this color over here. But it just requires a moment. To change the color. But the difference is that you can see the leather pattern here. I mean, you're probably not going to see. I'm not going to zoom in that closely in the video to the seats, but you can see the leather design there, and here on the blue. But here, this one doesn't have any texture. It's just the color. So you see why I'm doing it, even though it's the same. Well, that's the same color. It's just to get that extra little detail, because it does make a difference. White parts are a bit washed out. It's kind of like a real leather seat. It's going to have little. It's going to have a pattern like that, but you won't necessarily see it until it's close. But it's one of those things that you're not going to notice it when you're watching. But if it's not there, it wouldn't look right. If that makes sense. See if I play around with the settings a little bit more. It didn't make much difference. Because now I'm seeing this option here, so I could just change the colour directly, but never mind. Yeah, exactly, and I've seen lots of CGI in fan productions that is untextured, and it looks untextured, like Lego, as you said. Eric, yeah, I could do that. Maybe I'm sure I can find a way to show the detail. Frodo, I do intend to put a table. This is meant to be a lounge rather than a control room, so I do intend to put a table in the middle, and it's going to have some drinks and snacks on it. Because the book describes this room as a lounge specifically. And Lando kind of stormed in, complaining about what the Empire's done. The Empire doesn't actually attack Nomad City, so the city is not damaged. They just came and stole the mole miners, so you wouldn't really need to have a damage report of the mole miner. I'm the reverse. I feel like there should be some angry helicopter noises as you join the channel. Darth Revan, I'm not sure that conversation would go too well. Could add lamps to see what. Once I've got the rest, the basic room, and the table and everything set up, I'll see what other kind of furniture I can find and add to it. Though a lava lamp might be a pain to animate. It'd look good if I could get it right, but I don't really know if I want to animate it. Right, so now I'm going to do this part of the seat. Let's try and find the right. What would be a good? Okay, that's. Play around with this metallic texture just a little bit. I feel like it's a little bit too dark, but I don't want it to be too bright either. That's way too dirty. And the rest, I've got some ideas for how those are going to look. I've actually already created a Sluice Van shipyard. It's going to be a while before we get to see it, but I've kind of come up with the design for it. And I got some ideas in my head for what Onega's going to look like. We don't get to that in this book. But when we do get there, I have some ideas, which I'm looking forward to bringing to life. I actually want it to be less shiny than it was. A little bit shiny, but not as shiny as it was. That might be better. How's that looking? And then I'll take this, and like I did with the other seat, with the cushions, and I'll add it to all of the other seats. One second. Just had to respond to a message there. Sorry about that. I don't know if Lando would have dancers in this. So what I'm imagining for this room is if Lando gets some business clients coming to visit Nomad City to make a new business deal, this is the room he would take them to meet and negotiate with. So I'm not sure the Twi'lek dances would be his style. He'll want to make a big impression, but I'm not sure that's quite the impression he would want to make. Fancy artifacts are a good idea. Yes, they are a really good idea. Maybe I'm not gonna show that on stream because but you have given me some ideas. But I'm gonna put some things in as a little bit of a surprise to spot when you actually watch the video. Of course, if I do it now, then there won't be a surprise. But that is a really good idea, and I will be doing something with them. Because it is nice to sneak in little Easter eggs. Exactly, Darth. I don't want to give away all the surprises. So one of the reasons I haven't done a behind the scenes stream for a while is, for example, last episode of the space battle, I didn't really want to show making that and ruin the surprise of watching it actually happen for the first time. Lando strikes me as the kind of guy who would enjoy watching the dancers, but he wouldn't necessarily want to have them on display himself. Frodo, let's see. I've got an idea of how I want it to look. But we don't get to see it for quite some time. I'm not really sure if I can describe how I imagine it's going to look. But it's the picture I've always had in my head since reading the book as a kid. And I'm going to try and recreate that. And I will say that Camino is not quite... I mean, obviously it has cloning tanks, so there's going to be some similarities. But it's not going to be exactly the same. Thomas, this shelf is going to have bottles on it. Darth Revan, that's a good question. Probably The Empire Strikes Back. I know that's the one that most people are going to say. What's your favourite official movie? But yeah, this shelf is going to have bottles and stuff on it. I haven't got the models for that yet, so they're empty. But that's the idea, is to put them on here. And outside we've got this window, which I'm going to put... I haven't rendered the image for it yet, but I'm going to go back and... I'll render out the skyline for the planet. I'll probably just use one of the scenes from the last chapter when you saw the city, but from a horizontal perspective, and just have that outside the window. But I haven't done that yet, so I can't put it in. I don't know if I would put a big dinosaur in the Bimasari crowd, but when I get to the end of the book, it would be interesting to see how far the software has come, and then apply all those updates to the previous chapters. I mean, the software's had a lot of updates even since I started. I did not have the ability to create this hand model in chapter 2 when I really needed a good hand model. And it's the same with Luke and Leia. So in chapter 2, the character models were not anywhere near as good as these. So I would do things like go back and update things like that. But at the same time, I don't want to do that now, because I don't know what updates are going to happen to this software between now and chapter 32. So if I do it now, then I'd have to update it again when that time comes. So it's not really worth me doing it just yet. And I'm sure by the time I get to 32, I'll be looking at this chapter and thinking, that looks terrible. I can update that. Frodo, I could do that. No, not Frodo. Frodo, yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. And Hoppy, I could do that. I'm not sure if I will or not. So with this software, there's only a certain number of hairstyles. It can get quite costly to buy more, but even looking through the collection, this is the haircut that seems most like Han. And this is 5 years later, so he might change his haircut. I mean, who doesn't cut their hair off? I haven't had my hair cut in over a year because of the pandemic, and it's it's got to the point where it's going down my back. And when the pandemic started, it wasn't much shorter. It wasn't much longer than this. So 5 years after Return of the Jedi, when we last saw him, he's gonna have at least one haircut. Corran will be back. I already planned on it. I didn't want to say anything before Corran appeared, because I wanted it to be a nice little surprise, but I felt like it's important to give him that little cameo. And I got some other surprises planned over the course of the story, but they wouldn't be surprises if I said what they are now, so I'm not going to. Yeah. Well, even in the original trilogy, his hair changes between each film, and in the prequels, the character's hair change between each film, and the sequels again. The characters' looks do change a bit between each installment. There are times where it feels like it's the end, but then the people running things make really stupid decisions, which it's going to make it last longer. And then of course people not following the rules, spreading it around, or not taking it seriously, also making it last longer. Eric, thank you so much for coming, and thank you for the various colour tips throughout the video. It obviously made quite a big impact on the scene, so I do appreciate that. And I hope that when you see the video finished, you'll enjoy seeing the end results. But yeah, 5 years, and the original trilogy character's appearance changed a bit. I feel like I could make some changes where the software was limited. Yeah, I don't think we really need to discuss COVID here, because I think we're all aware of it, and we have been for quite some time. I'll try to keep things a bit lighter here. So there are other places to discuss COVID. So I'm actually thinking I might end the stream now because it's getting a bit late. And until I get extra models to decorate this room, there's not much else I can do. And I can't animate the scenes yet because I don't have the motion capture or the dialogue. So Hans is just here for scale in the standard T-pose. I wanted to make sure that he would look okay. Niles Ferry is a character I'm really looking forward to bringing to life. And the Wraith is going to be an interesting little challenge, but I'll think of something when the time comes. At Darth Revan, I'm in the UK, which means it is 1:20 in the morning. Oh, so you're ahead of me. Yeah, it is late though. I had a long day. Sensational being. I don't have any videos of me performing motion capture. Mostly because it's not that interesting to watch. I don't really feel comfortable with an audience doing that. So I don't have that, but I do have a video. You'll find it on my channels in the live section where I took the captured motion capture and processed it. So I was doing the cleanup and then importing it into iClone. So I can't remember exactly what it's called. Let me look it up just a second. Let me find it, and I'll see if I can post a link in the chat, and you can go and check it out. Importing Mocap. Guess that's a pretty obvious name for it. Here you go. So if you check that link out after the stream, you'll see my process for importing Mocap. And actually, wait a minute. There was an old tutorial which I made, and you do see me doing some Mocap in it. So let me find that. Give me a second. It's from an old fan film I made called Imperials, and I know some of you have seen it. It was the first film I used Mocap for. I saved up for the suit, and this is what I decided to use it for. So let me see. Not that one. Can't find it now. So while I'm looking for this, I can't see the chat. So hello, and welcome to the first of... Nope. Actually, this isn't the right one. Okay, I found it. You can see me doing a little bit of mocap here. I'm going to post the link. 1 second. And there we go. I did a tutorial about motion capture, and so it starts off with a clip of me running around outside, pretending to be two characters being shot at by a TIE fighter and responding to it. And there's a shot of, for the lightsaber duel, I did get some friends with martial arts experience to do a little bit of mocap for me, and there's a clip of them doing that. So you can check that out there as well. How long do you take per episode? It depends on a number of factors, which includes things like how long the voice actors take to send me the dialogue, because we are doing this for fun, so it's when they can fit it in. The complexity of the scenes. So a battle sequence will take longer to do than just a conversation. Also the length of it, because obviously the longer it is, the more footage I have to produce, and some stuff like that really. So I can't really give you it takes me 2 weeks to do an episode, because it varies depending on what the chapter is. I think the shortest one was chapter, let me think, 5, where you just see them in the Senate chamber, and it's the shortest video of the entire series. I think it's only about 3 minutes long, so that was a very quick one to do once I had all the dialogue recorded. And the longest one was actually chapter 8, because the Thrawn, Pelion and Sabaoth dialogue scene for some reason took 38 hours to render. Was it 38 or 34? 34, I think. 34 hours to render, and I had to do it twice. So that took a long time to complete. I probably will do a movie cut. I'm not entirely sure how well that will work, but I'm very interested to try. I have experimented a little bit with cutting the existing chapters together, and some of them don't mesh quite so well, so I'll have to experiment and play around with it to make a proper movie edit. Alright, I'm going to end the stream here, because there's not much else I can do. Actually, there's one more thing I can do, and that is save what I've got here, because that'd be bad to lose that. So there we go. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for your input on decorating this room. I need to bring in some more furniture. Yes, 34 hours. It was not fun, because the computer slows down to a crawl, so I can't really use it for anything else during that time. So yeah, hopefully I don't have too many more of those to render. And I never figured out why it took so long. It just did. But anyway, yeah, thank you all for coming. Hope you found it interesting. As I said, thank you for your input. I will be back next week. I'm not sure if it'll be more behind the scenes or if I'll be playing TIE Fighter again. Anyway, have a great week. May the Thrawn be with you, and take care.